All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We are back. We are continuing with our look at the triennial Torah portion. This week we are going to be dealing with Numbers chapter 12, Numbers, the 12th chapter, and today our title that we'll be using today is And She Spoke. And She Spoke. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and begin. We'll begin by just reading through the 12th chapter. We'll read through the 12th chapter, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Okay, so let me go ahead and pull up for us chapter 12. Let's see. All right, so let me put this up here on the screen. Okay, go ahead and read for us, nice and loud, starting with verse 1.
Now Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moshe because of the Cushite woman whom he had taken, for he had taken a Cushite woman. And they said, Has Yahweh spoken only through Moshe? Has he not also spoken through us? And Yahweh heard it. And the man Moshe was very humble, more than all men who were on the face of the earth. And suddenly Yahweh said to Moshe and Aaron and Miriam, You three, come out to the tent of appointment. So the three came out, and Yahweh came down in the column of cloud and stood in the door of the tent and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both went forward. And he said, Hear now my words. If your prophet is of Yahweh, I make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream. Not so with my servant Moshe, he is trustworthy in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth and plainly, and not in riddles, and he sees the form of Yahweh. So why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe? And the displeasure of Yahweh burned against them, and he left. And the cloud turned away from above the tent, and look, Miriam was leprous, as white as snow. And Aaron turned toward Miriam, and look, a leper. And Aaron said to Moshe, O my master, please do not hold against us the sin in which we have done foolishly, and in which we have sinned. Please do not let her be as one dead when coming out of his mother's womb, with his flesh half consumed. And Moshe cried out to Yahweh, saying, O El, please heal her, please. And Yahweh said to Moshe, If her father had but spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and after that let her be readmitted. And Miriam was shut out of the camp 7 days, and the people did not set out until Miriam was readmitted. And afterward the people departed from Hatzeroth, and they camped in the wilderness of Paran.
Okay, very good. So, let's go back up here and look at some things. Very interesting chapter. Numbers chapter 12. And it begins in an interesting way. We have, if we remember from chapter 11, we had all of the grumblings of the people coming against Moses, coming against the Most High from, the manna. They wanted flesh. They wanted meat. They didn't want the blessings that the Most High was blessing them with. We have all that complaining that the people were doing. We talked about the fact that, when people do complain, when people do have these negative attitudes, these things are indeed contagious. These things spread. And so whatever reason we see over here, beginning with verse 1, that this negativity spread over to Miriam and Aharon. So let's look at some things over here. So first of all, we see that Miriam is actually mentioned first, which usually tells us that she is the prominent one in action. And so interestingly enough, when we look at this in the Hebrew, which here, I'll pull this up over here. Interesting when you see this in the Hebrew. Pull this up over here. I don't know if that looks small. Let's see if I can make that bigger. Oh yeah. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can see a little better. Let's see. All right, that might be too big here. Okay, so if we look over here in the Hebrew, okay, we know this verse says, then Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses. That's what it says in the English. But if we look over here in the Hebrew, this word here, debar, is the word for speak. But we see over here with this tav here as a prefix, this vav is kind of and. So this says vat. So for this to say vat dabir feminizes this word speak. But in the English it says that Miriam and Aharon spoke against Moses. But in the Hebrew, the way this is set up, it kind of says, and she, Miriam, and Aharon, and she spoke. Miriam, the one who spoke, and Aharon, it kind of throws him in there against Moses. And so even from when we're looking at this, it kind of accentuates. Actually, if you look over here, let's see. This word, here's the bar right here. If we look at this, this is a third person feminine singular, right? So they put this word debar, this word to speak, in the third person feminine singular form. But from the English, it seems like it's two people talking over here. But the way that the Hebrew is giving it to you is basically telling you that Miriam is the one that's doing all the talking. She's the one who is essentially over here saying all of the things. Miriam. Okay, which, you know, that makes sense when we see later on what happens. But I just wanted to look at that in the Hebrew, because you can't, in the English, you know, now Miriam and Aharon spoke. It seemed like they both spoke. But when you look at it in the language, it seems as if it's Miriam that's speaking. Aharon's kind of he's just over there. So she started this whole thing, but Aharon is there in her earshot and he's not saying anything. Right? And so we could say that he allowed for this thing to happen, but he didn't talk against it. Right? He didn't say anything to stop what she was doing. She didn't get up and start talking, and Aharon was like, hold up, wait, you could hold on, like, don't be like, he didn't do none of that. Where he could have, where he actually should have. Okay, so he didn't stop it. And so it's interesting that when we look and we think about things that happen that we are silent to, that we allow to happen, the last time this happened, one of the most terriblest things that ever happened in the history of Israel happened. If we look over here in Exodus 32, let's read, the first two verses right here.
And when the people saw that Moshe was so long in coming down from the mountain, the people gathered together to Aaron and said to him, arise, make us mighty ones who go before us. For this Moshe, the man who brought us up out of the land of Mitzrayim, we do not know what has become of him. And Aaron said to him, take off the golden earrings which are in the ears of your wives, your sons, and your daughters, and bring them to me.
Okay, so over here we see Aharon, we see Aaron, the people come complaining to Aaron. Aaron was supposed to be like, nah, y'all be quiet. We not doing this. We're not going along with this thing that you sitting up here talking about, making us mighty ones. Nah, we ain't doing that. He just co-signs on what they doing. Okay, let me get your gold. I'll make you a golden calf. Like, and so we see over here with Aaron, who, by the way, the high priest, by the way, in terms of the leaders of the people, no one's higher but Moshe. Okay, and so Aaron, you know, should be standing up over here. He should be allowing for these people to dictate what it is that he is out here doing. And so we see over here, from there we see a time when Aaron should have spoke up and against the people. When we look back in Numbers chapter 12 and verse 1, where again pointing to the fact that Miriam speaking, Aaron is silenced. is silent, silence actually can be agreement. Silence can be agreement. If somebody's saying something and you ain't saying nothing, then it must be true. You not saying nothing against what's being said, it must be the case. If it wasn't the case, then you would object.
Right.
You would have something to say against it.
Yep. Yep.
If we look over in Numbers chapter 30, let's look at Numbers chapter 30. Let's see, I think in verse start reading at verse 3 right there.
It says, "Or if a woman vows a vow to Yahweh and binds herself by some agreement while in her father's house in her youth, her father hears her vow in the agreement by which she was bound herself, and her father has kept silent towards her, then all her vows shall stand, and every agreement with which she has bound herself stands."
Okay, so we see over here the woman, she says something, and the father, who's able to nullify it, in verse 5, if he forbids it, is nullified. But verse 4 over here, if he don't say nothing, he agrees. It's not going to be done. The father agrees in his silence. He agrees in his silence. And so we see the same thing happen over here with Aharon, where he didn't have anything to say about what his sister was doing. Therefore, we see in the text where he's grouped in with her in terms of agreeing with her. Let's also go over to Genesis. Silence is agreement. You don't got nothing to say against it. You must believe it then. You must agree. What's verse 6?
So the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave it to her husband with her, and he ate.
Okay, very good. So we see over here where the man is sitting over here watching his wife. I'm saying watching because he's the one that's supposed to be taking care of all of the things. It don't say it says that she. It says she also gave her husband with her. The husband was with her. He watched her eat it, and then he partook of it. And so he allowed for this thing to happen that was forbidden by the Most High. He allowed for it to happen, and then he took it a step further and then participated in it. And so all he had to do was to say something about this thing. All he had to do was forbid this thing. All he had to do was stand against this thing that was clearly something that was out of line. But he didn't. He kept silent and he agreed. These people, of course, went further than only just silence. They participated. We can't see what Aaron has done in terms of his participation, but he most certainly is there in regards to the agreement because of the fact that he did not say anything. Okay, so let's continue over here. And so what is this even got to do with anything, by the way? Again, they just got finished doing these things with this complaining about the manna and the lack of meat. The complaint has to do with Moshe and his prophetic abilities. Why is the wife even brought up? What does that even mean? Like it's almost like just totally random how people just will just say something just mean just for the sake of just being mean. Like, what's the reason? What?
She's just telling him all the stuff she had wrong. She's telling him everything she found wrong about him.
That's what women do.
That's what I think so too.
Like, she got a list.
She got a list.
She got a list, and she was fed up for some reason, so she brought the list out.
That's what happened. She brought the list out.
She probably spoke with Aaron. He was like, you know. And then she ran her mouth, like you read in the Hebrew. She was running her mouth.
She was probably like, Aaron, you think I should say something? He's probably like, nah. And then she probably just went ahead and said it anyway.
No, Aaron probably like, I don't know.
Just not taking this step.
And that's what happened. Something like that.
But
I think she wouldn't have gotten the leprosy if she would have just stopped with the wife. She shouldn't have went with the prophetic thing.
she took it too far. But she obviously was going there from jump. Like, she was going too far. Like, that was just how she began. But what is she talking about over here with this Cushite woman? Who is this? Who's the Cushite woman? Because the scriptures don't say. Now, it's worse now if we say now that this is Zipporah, the wife that we know about. If we say that this is the wife that we know about, it makes it even worse. Because you know her name. You know what Moses' wife name is. And you just gonna sit up here and just describe her like it's some way, it's some random way that we don't know, by the way, what she even means by this. Is she saying that, is she speaking of his wife and putting a color on her? Like, is she talking about her blackness when she says you're Cushite woman, which is a word we looked at, it can mean over here. Let me make sure that I have my King James, of course, translate this as Ethiopian. So it could be this Ethiopian woman that you married. It could be, here, let's look at this. Cushite woman, 5269. Cushite 68. And we want to see the Cush is equal to black. And so is she saying like something about the wife or saying where she's from? She could have been doing either one of the things. But either way, You know what her name is. You could have just said that. And so some people say that this was indeed Zipporah, even though we know that she was a Midianite. But interestingly enough, when we look at understanding the Midianites were a nomadic people. They were a nomadic people. And so when we think about Israel in the wilderness for these 40 years were nomadic, right? Which means that they didn't necessarily have a particular place that was their home. They traveled. They were sojourners. They traveled through different pasture lands. The nomadic tribes went where the food was for the cattle or whatever that they were keeping. And so they kind of were, they were mobile. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility for from a ethnic standpoint for a Midianite to be an Ethiopian, somebody who was from Ethiopia, and also be a Midianite. The people, somebody could say I'm a Pennsylvanian, right? But that's just where I live, right? And so we could look at it from that point of view and say, yeah, that could be true. When we look at the Midianites, there is a place called Midian, by the way, south of where Esau or Edom, south of Edom is a place where you have a place called Midian. And so, there was sea that separated Midian from Ethiopia. And so it's not beyond the realm of possibility for somebody to come across those waters as a particular people, live and dwell in Midian and become Midianites. Right? And so it could be the same person. The Midianites, if we look over in let's look at Numbers 22 real fast here. Numbers 22, and let's read verses 4 through 7.
It says, and Moab said to the elders of Midian, now this company is looking up all that is around us, as an ox looks up the grass of the field. Now Balak's son and Zippor was sovereign of the Moabites at the time. And he sent messengers to Balaam and Beor and Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, see, a people has come from Mizraim. See, they have covered the surface of the land and are settling next to me. And now, please come at once, curse this people for me, for they are too strong for me. It might be that I strike them and drive them out of the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed. And the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian left with the fees of divination in their land, for divination in their land, and they came to Balaam and spoke the words of Balak to him.
Okay, very good. So we see with Moab and Midian, they kind of worked together. They were kind of like a joined people, the Moabites and the Midianites, who we know if we look back, they were separate people, but they were joined together at various points. And so when we look over here, again, for a Midianite who again were a nomadic tribe of people, they very well could have been, I'm saying at least Zipporah very well could have been this Ethiopian woman. According to Josephus actually has a whole story about Moses in the time that he left Egypt and went and found this other wife, and there's even a name. I didn't write the name down. There's even a name that he has recorded, Josephus, as this Ethiopian queen, right? And so it could be that Miriam here is bringing up his first wife, the Ethiopian that he got with whenever he was leaving out from Egypt before he came across Zipporah. But if that's the case, it just makes the whole thing even worse, because it's like she's trying to just bring up these potentially bad decisions that he made in his past to kind of bring some darkness on his prophetic abilities. So either way, if we say that it's Zipporah is just wrong and disrespectful, because why you can't say her name, and if it's some other wife, some previous wife that was around, what's that got to do with it? Is this some kind of thing that you're trying to do to make it seem like Moses make bad decisions and choices? And it's proof because you got this Cushite woman that you married. It's just bad all the way around, right? And so when we look over here, when we go down, and let's go back over to verse chapter 12. Okay, so she says what she says, right? She says, you got this, you married this woman. Okay. Has Yahweh only spoken through Moshe? Through Moshe? Has he not spoken through us? Again, first of all, I don't know why she's doing this. Like, I don't know why she's doing this. It just doesn't make any sense. It just seems totally, I guess she can't be removed from the carnality that just was with the whole quail situation. The whole nation as a whole showed their carnal desires and carnal ways, and then now they're bringing it up to Miriam and Aaron in the manifestation of their carnality. Because I don't know what she's doing or why she's doing this, right? We see that she's speaking against her brother. Why? Is there some type of jealousy that's involved here?
Hold on, you're trying to understand why a woman's doing something?
I want to know. Like, I want to
Look
know.
up, you on your own with that. Good luck.
I want to know why she's doing this. We don't even have any type of. Is it retaliation? Like, what is she? Where does it come from?
When you find out, I'm listening.
It just seems just totally just out of left field. Like, it's not even connected to anything. What's going on here? But the thing about it is that the Most High hears this. It literally says in verse 2, and Yahweh heard it. Which, of course, is a problem.
You said, oh, wait a minute.
This is a problem, right? And then when we look at verse 3, it's interesting where it talks about this man who is Moshe was very, very humble. More than all the men who were on the face of the earth, it says. Moshe was. And so we see over here that he has these accusations against him, these issues that Miriam has that Aaron don't say nothing about. And Moshe he don't even defend himself against these things that's going on. We got the big sister going against the little brother. He's hearing all this. He's not really dealing with this whole thing, which it seems to be a good place for inspiration to bring up his humility. She got all this stuff to say. He's not even dealing with it. He don't even, it's just whatever. Like,
Smart man.
she got some bait that she's throwing out. She trying to pick a fight. What about this woman you got over here? This Cushite woman that you married. Who said only the Most High talk to you?
Yep.
And he ain't biting.
That's not what our people.
he don't got nothing to say, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I know, yeah, right. It's interesting that all the siblings are prophets, right? They're siblings, and they're just having just some regular sibling thing that's happening right here. That's recorded in scripture.
Well, you know what that is. So now there's your answer. Now that's your answer. They siblings, so they gonna have that.
I mean, she saved her brother, right? She saved her brother's life. Way back when.
She got him out the water. Yeah. So, wait, does she know that at this point? Yeah, because she knows who she is.
Yeah, she knows who it is, yeah. She probably got that. Like, he wouldn't even be.
Yeah,
he wouldn't even be around if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's probably why she felt like that.
I saved your life.
Yeah, because she ordered him too.
She big sis.
Yeah. So that makes sense. There you go.
But Moshe, he don't even defend himself, because we see over here that Moshe is, hold on, verse 2, verse 3. Oh, I got the wrong. Verse 3, he's very anav. He's very depressed in mind, gentle, humble, lowly, meek in spirit. He's not a prideful one where somebody sit up here and have all this stuff to say about him, and then he feels the need to have to come and defend himself. If somebody come to me talking about, I'm not saying me like I'm some kind of meek, humble person. If I'm acting right, I'll start it with that. If I'm acting right and somebody got something to say that I know is not true, then I don't got nothing to say about it. You know, I don't have a response. I must say that if I'm acting right, I gotta say that first, because if you get me at the wrong time, then
everybody can get God.
You get me at the wrong time, then I just gonna be just carnal right along with you.
Yeah.
Right? But if I'm acting right,
everybody got their moments.
if I'm acting right, you know, you are able to not pay attention to these things that are coming against you that are, you know, they're unfounded. There's no need for Moshe to have to defend himself or kind of give any rebuttal to the things that are being said. And then the proof of that is that the fact that the Most High came in for him. The thing that she's sitting up and trying to act like and say is so wrong that the Most High had to step in and say and have something to say about it. In verse 4, read verse 4 right there for me.
And suddenly Yahweh said to Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam, you three come out with the tent of appointment. So the three came out.
And so now it now it's coming together.
So let me talk to y'all real quick. I mean, he's like, man. Y'all three, come here real quick.
Come meet me over here in the tent.
I gotta talk to y'all about something.
They going to the principal's office.
Yeah.
really is Miriam and Aaron. Moses, he's just the one. The bullies and the bullied are all getting taken to the principal's office. Did you hear him? But when we look over here and we see that the Most High jumps to the defense of his beloved servant, because he knew that Moses wasn't going to sit up here and get into this thing with his sister and his brother who was there. And so we look over here where it talks about the fact that they went over to the tent of meeting. The Most High meets them over there. The Most High comes down and he says in verse 6,
he said, hear now my words. If your prophet is of Yahweh, I make myself known to him in a vision, and I speak to him in a dream.
He said, if your prophet is of Yahweh. If he is. The prophets in question over here is Miriam and Aharon. But if they are indeed prophets, this is how he deal with them. In a vision, in a dream. When we think about the way that the Most High speaks to or spoke to his prophets, the majority of the time it's in a vision. You had a dream. You had some type of a thing that happened. Some words appear in your mind. Some thoughts appear in your mind, and you know that they came from the Most High. Sometimes you might not know that they come from the Most High, and you need some type of a witness to verify that it was from the Most High. But he said, verse 7, what's saying 7 and 8?
It says, "Not so with my servant Moshe. He is trustworthy in all my house. I speak with him mouth to mouth and plainly, and not in riddles, and he sees the form of Yahweh. So, why were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moshe?"
He said that she actually should have been afraid to speak against Moses.
Right.
If she really understood the relationship that Moses had with the Most High said, he asked the question, why were you not afraid to speak against Moses, my servant?
Because I'm his big sister. I got him out that water.
That's what she
be afraid of.
That's what she was thinking. But in reality, she don't understand the character of the Most High the way that Moses does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If she really knew what the Most High saying that she probably should have known, if she really knew what she should have known, she should have been afraid to say what she said, because it said Moses knows, he sees the form of Yahweh.
That's crazy too, because it's like, you're in the wilderness now. Y'all came out of Egypt. Moses led the way on all that. You ain't see that? Come on. But that's women though. They don't care what they see. They don't, they don't care what happens.
It's the only thing that I can think about is, something that we all can kind of identify with from a physical standpoint. When at times when we deal in our carnality, in our flesh, in our emotions, logic is thrown out of the window.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
If you sit back and think about things, it's going to keep you from doing these things, acting rashly, speaking out of emotion, getting all worked up about something where sometimes you don't even got the whole story. You hear the first 3 sentences of a paragraph, and you get all bent out of shape. But if you would have paid attention to the full paragraph, you would have been able to accept everything.
Yeah.
But you get into your emotions, you get into your feelings. These feelings are reactive. She's reacting to something that's going on the inside of her, and we see that she's definitely out of line, right? But it says that Moses beholds the form of Yahweh, the Temunah, right? That is, let's see, fashioned out of shape, embodiment, manifestation, image, likeness, similitude. And so when we think about the fact that the Most High, who is spirit, by the way, who doesn't have a body, by the way, this idea that Moses saw his form really helps us to understand that Moses understood fully who the Most High was, and he understood his character and the essence of the Most High. What he understood, what it was that makes up the Most High. He understood the character and the way that he does things. Moshe has a relationship with the Most High that no other person does. It said that he speaks to him mouth to mouth. Now again, we're not talking about the fact that there's a mouth that's in the sky that comes down, that sit up there and moves, and Moses sees lips moving and teeth and a tongue and all of that. It's speaking about the closeness that the Most High has with Moshe that no other person has, where he's able to literally speak and hear from the Most High, and there don't have to be no third party involved to decipher what it is that the Most High has said. Where we deal with, where he said every other person got these other things that they deal with, and you know, I gotta go and talk to 3 or 4 people to find out if the Most High really said this to me. I gotta go do a deep study in the scriptures to find out if the thing that I seen in my dream goes along with the Bible. The Most High told me this thing in a dream. I got to go and make sure that everything in it is according to what the scriptures say.
I just can't. The Most High just can't tell me something and
that's what she said.
You run with it.
Yeah, you know, it's like you pick the ball up and take it down the field to the end zone. No matter what.
That's what people do, right?
Literally.
The Most High told me to go over here and do such and such.
Did he? You know, he told me to go kill that man. What? That's how. See, and people don't understand when you be like, the Most High ain't tell you to do that. They don't know. Like, they know what's their follow up. How you know what he told me?
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's what we see right over here. She very well might. I'm not saying might. She hears from the Most High, but not in a clear way that Moses hears from him.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because that's what he just got finished saying. You had a dream.
Yeah.
I dropped some thoughts in your mind.
Yeah.
And those thoughts got to be deciphered.
Right. You ain't skilled enough.
You got to go check with somebody to make sure that it is what you think it is. Or you might think it's one thing. You tell somebody. You got to go tell somebody else what happened in your dream. What you saying that the Most High said to you, you got to go tell it to somebody else for them to tell you what it means. And so we got these people who want to sit up here and say they don't know the Most High from a can.
Yeah.
And then they want to sit up here and say the Most High said for me to do X, Y, Z.
Oh, this is the other one. I deal with this every day. I'm talking about every day.
What they say?
I tell them something. I read out of the scripture.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, my spirit."
Yeah.
What about your spirit wicked? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, you want your wicked spirit telling you.
Yeah. Ain't resonating in my spirit.
Yeah, it's righteous. Yeah, it's hitting you.
And so that's a problem, though.
But wait. That's your interpretation. You read, that's how you want to read it. Or read the whole thing. I'm like, wait, it's... Yeah.
And so, you know, one thing that I like to kind of help people, try to help people, because it don't help people, because people believe what they want to believe.
Yeah, they're going to believe it.
What I try to help people to understand and see is that we see this thing that the Most High had with Moses, the fact that he did speak to him face to face. But when we look in the New Covenant scriptures and we see the way that the Spirit works with people in the body of Messiah, is actually set up for
checks and balances.
checks and balances for people to be able to come together and know collectively what it is the Most High is saying.
Exactly.
He may still even have a prophet who even has the gift of prophecy, but that prophecy still is interpreted by others with the same spirit, not functioning the way that we saw him do with Moses.
I think the scripture says, by the mouth of 2 and 3 witnesses, the word of truth is established.
That's what it says. The Bible literally says that. And so we have people today doing the same thing that Miriam did over there, talking about, I hear from the Most High too. And I'm here to say, maybe you do, but we need to hear what you think you heard and deal with that according to Scripture. Because the one who knew the form of the Most High, he didn't have that problem. But he's saying that because of the fact that they didn't. They didn't have that close relationship with the Most High, and there was something missing. And so we have to be able to have that close relationship with the Most High. We have to be able to know what his character, in the character of the Most High, what he would or wouldn't do. To say yes or no, the Most High said for me to go over here and meet up with this person and do this with them.
Right.
Because the Most High said it.
Otherwise, you just following. Oh, it's not your lust, but like just your mind.
Yeah, you can say that. Go ahead. Say
Your lust.
That's what you're doing.
Cause
Your own desires.
Yeah, because you ain't verify that.
I mean, when I was young, I used to sleep with Whammo on the radio all night long. And so it wouldn't be nothing for me to have in my mind something that was playing while I was asleep.
Yes.
In my subconscious, there's thoughts being implanted into my mind, and I'm not even aware of it.
Yeah.
And so, but that's how our mind works.
That's exactly.
That's how, and them people, them wicked people, sat up there and figured that out with advertising.
Yep.
They sit up there and suggest to you that this poison is delicious.
Exactly.
And you believe it in your subconscious mind, and you go get you some.
Yep.
Hey man, that thing look juicy than a mug. I'm gonna go ahead. McDonald's burger ain't never looked that juicy like that.
You know?
That thing ain't never sat up where you able to see the lettuce and tomatoes like that. It ain't never did that. That thing, them things is all smashed down.
Never did that.
Burger King burger ain't never been high like that. That mug is smashed down.
Yeah.
All that stuff. They sit up there. When you sit up there and look at what, they don't even be using food.
No,
they putting all type of glues and
That's
plastics
the devil,
and them things. But you look at it and you say, looks delicious.
Put
You
that
hear
idea
a
in your
commercial?
mind.
Oh, that sounds yummy. Let me go over to this place. Smells and everything else. But if we are really operating on the wavelength of the Most High, then we're going to be doing the things that He would have for us to be doing.
Yeah.
Then we're going to hear what it is that He has to say, and we can be moving accordingly. Let's look over here at
Before you
First John. Go ahead.
Before you move on, because you to go off your idea that you just said was deep, because it's like advertising. Like what's advertising? It's like, of course, to show you something, but here's the big kicker: is whatever the advertisement is, if you never seen an advertisement, you would never think of it.
Yeah, it puts the thoughts in your mind.
It puts the thought in your mind. So think about what ideas are you putting in your mind on a consistent basis? If you always watch the TV, social media, all these things, that is what is on your mind. That's what you filled yourself up with.
Yeah.
But when you spend your time with the scriptures, that's what you're filling your mind up with.
Exactly.
And that's what you're going to recall, and that's what you're going to remember. You're going to forget. You forget other things because this filled your mind up.
Yeah.
And got your attention. So just, for people to think about.
Yeah. I mean, that's Bible right there. What you're saying is the Bible.
Yeah, it's about meditating on the word. Yeah. What are you thinking about? People wonder why they can't handle these situations in life, even though they say they read the Bible, but then you don't keep it in you. Like, you've been supposed to meditate on it.
What does it say right here?
Romans
1 and 2.
Romans 12 and 1.
Hold on 1 second. I got the thing. Go ahead.
I call upon you, therefore, brothers, through the compassion of Elohim, to present your bodies a living offering, set apart, well-pleasing to Elohim, your reasonable worship. And do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you prove what is that good and well-pleasing and perfect desire of Elohim.
It said the renewing of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that your mind is indeed renewed is by, like you were saying, having the word be in it.
You gotta fill your mind with it. You have to. And then it's crazy. It's crazy. That's I think that's what happened with me. Like when I first came into the faith, it's funny. Me and Ebony was looking at my Bible, and it was like memory lane. It's like, because I wrote it to myself and put the date in there, and it's just like, this is where I started at. Mm-hmm. And at that moment, like when I got rid of everything in my life, all the distractions, and it was just me and the book, me and him and his ideas. Mm-hmm. And when I took everything away, I had all that time to just put his ideas in me. I didn't care what nobody said, my family or anything. I was telling them what I learned because I was happy about it. Then it got to a point where it was in me, where I didn't even need the book, to the extent that I was just doing it. That's the point. You fill them up, it's so you in so much, so it's like you can say, hey, I know the book, I know that that's wicked and evil, I'm not doing that, and direct other people.
Mm-hmm. Hold on, while we talking about this, what does it say in Joshua 1, 6, 7, and 8?
Joshua 1 and 6. It says, be strong and courageous, for you are to let this people inherit the land. Did I read it right? Yeah, for you are to let this people inherit the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous to guard, to do according to all the Torah which Moshe my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it right or left, so that you act wisely wherever you go.
Hey,
this is the instructions right here. It says, do not, that's that straight path.
Yeah.
When you should talk about the straight, see, you don't go left or right. You gotta go down the path. And do not let this book of the Torah depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate on it day and night, so that you guard to do according to all that is written in it. For then you shall make your way prosperous and act wisely. That's clearly what the world don't do.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And so when we do that, we understand the form of Yahweh. Mm-hmm. And then we be like Moses, and we're able to deal with him face to face.
Right.
We're able to have a strong relationship with the Most High when we understand his form. Yeah. And we do that by meditating on his words. Mm-hmm. But let's go over here Let's go back over here to 1 John. Chapter 4. 1 through 5. What does that say?
So, beloved one, do not believe every spirit, but prove the spirits whether they are Elohim, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. By this you know that the spirit of Elohim, every spirit that confesseth that Yeshua Messiah has come in the flesh is of Elohim, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua Messiah has come in the flesh is not of Elohim. And this is the spirit of the anti-Messiah, which you heard is coming, and now is already in the world. You are of Elohim, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. They are of the world, therefore they speak as of the world, and the world hears them.
Okay, very good. So we see over here people that are of the world, they're heard by those that are in the world.
That's right.
But people that are in the spirit, I hear the spirit in you if the spirit is in me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tuned in with the spirit.
Yes.
And so we are able to know, based on our closeness with Messiah, based on understanding who the Mosai is and the character that dwells inside of him, that dwells inside of us, we're able to know what's what when we operating through the Spirit and say, the Most High did not say that to you.
Exactly. Because it's based off of information. If you read the book, we should all have a certain level of information. And when I talk to you, I know what the level of information you have because you're reflecting that information with your actions.
Yes.
So it's information. That's like, it's how much you know and how much you act on. That's how I know if you're in the spirit or not. If you understand.
And I think that's why the Most High, like, you know, we're a body, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arms, legs, stomach, chest. You know what I mean? We got all of these different parts to make the whole body go. And Yeshua is the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Proverbs 24:6, it says...
Hold on.
By wise guidance, you wage your own battle, and delivery is by a great counselor. So the another translation is, in a multitude of counselors there is safety, right? And so you know, people having
how
these,
did they get that?
yeah,
Wow. Yeah, because that's almost a completely different.
Wow.
right, yep. And so you know these.
Wait, what verse was that?
This is 24:6.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't agree with
for
that.
In
That's a little
the
King James?
Yeah, King James
Yeah, that's
version.
what
It
I'm
says, "For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in a multitude of counselor there is safety." And we're at war out here,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if you go into battle, you hearing these voices saying, "Oh yeah, you know that I got this vision,"
Yeah.
and then you start acting, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, by this vision without running it through the counselors.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You just out here, you know, fighting the battle that you ain't even supposed to be fighting.
What are you doing?
And so I watched this interesting thing today where, you know how we got the staple of bacon and eggs being the staple breakfast for America?
No.
It was all
I'm
advertising.
about to say, they put
Right.
it in our head.
They put it
That-
in their head.
The concept never
didn't
existed.
exist.
Yeah, they made
Everybody
this up.
ate a light breakfast.
Yep.
Juice,
Mhm.
coffee, and like a piece of bread.
Yep.
That was the staple
That's
diet.
how you break the fast.
And then the pig guy comes in. He's like,
Yep.
you know what?
Let's
I
make
ain't
money.
selling enough of my product.
Let's make
bacon.
money. Yeah.
A guy came out with a whole campaign. He got the doctors to co-sign it. So this is how wicked even the doctors are in the world. Yes, in the world. Yes.
They were saying it was more nutritious.
Yes, they were
bacon.
saying yes. Well, they were saying the hearty diet.
Especially to break your fast, which is actually one of the most unhealthy things you can do to break a fast is to put a big meal on it. You want to kind of put like a salad, fruit. They say wake up, drink water. That gets everything going. To wake up and jump on some pancakes, eggs, all these things without transitioning your system to take in, because really you're supposed to have your biggest meal like in the heart of your day so you can work it out. Really, when you get like to eat, it get deep when you look at like how the body is ecosystem. But when you figure it out, you're like, wow. You wake up and you're going to break your fast, but it just needs you need the liquids and then go into the food, the heavier foods at the top of your day, then back to liquids and lighter foods at the end of the day.
For the last 2 days, I've been waking up, drinking water, and then after I drink some water, I eat a piece of bread. That's my breakfast now. And literally, because I was getting these headaches every day. I know this is a little off topic, but it just shows that, we are getting all of this counsel from the world. And it's wickedness. Mm-hmm. It's setting us back. You know what I mean? And we're not running it through the proper channels.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is the gospel and the people who are adhering to the gospel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, yes, we all can hear these voices. We all can dream these dreams. But at the end of the day, until you run that through the proper channels, which is the body that he's connected you to, you ain't out here, you ain't a lone soldier. You know what I'm saying? You ain't, a secret agent. You know what I'm saying? Running out here by yourself.
Lone wolfing it.
You got to run that through the proper channels, or you be out here all messed up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
And so when we look over here and we think about what was going on with Miriam and her accusations against Moses, and even the answer that the Most High had for her in response to all of this, is about understanding who he is. And then once you have that part figured out, then now you should be acting a certain kind of way. If she had all these things to say, if she really was who she said that she was, then she never would have even got to the place of even saying that stuff to begin with. All right?
Why didn't she just go to Moses? Like, if she was displeased and, you know what I mean, she had this great, why didn't she just go to her brother?
What do you mean? Oh, that's what she did do, but she went to him.
I thought she spoke out against him first,
to him, though.
And that's what it was. And the Most High heard her. And
he said, Moses.
And Moses didn't really say nothing?
No, he ain't say nothing.
And then
Moses said something.
Moses, that's when he had to intervene. He said, "Oh wait,
hold on, you're not gonna talk about my man like this."
That's where we at with it. Yeah,
you ain't gonna talk about my man like
speaking
this.
Out first, and then
she probably said something to Aaron first.
That's probably why when it said and because spoke and then
she put him there.
Yeah, but in the Hebrew it was saying they probably spoke about it. Then she went and did it.
Because he ain't never stopped her.
Right.
You think I should say something to Moses? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that mean yeah. What does it say? Here, 17. Read down through 24.
It says, see, you are called the Yuadi, Yehudim, and rest on the Torah, and make your boast in Elohim, and know the desire of Elohim, and approve what is superior, being instructed out of Torah, and are trusting that you yourself are a guide to the blind, a light to those who are in darkness, an instructor of foolish ones, a teacher of babes, having the form of knowledge and of the truth of the Torah. That you then who teach another, do you not teach yourself? You who proclaim that a man should not steal, do you not? Do you steal? You who say do not commit adultery, do you commit adultery? You who abominate idols, do you rob temples? You who make your boast in the Torah, through the transgression of the Torah, do you respect Elohim? For the name of Elohim is blasphemed among the nations because of you, as it has been written.
Yes. So when we look over here, we see that, we should already know this life that we live is about the doing of the things. You could say what you're supposed to say until you blue in the face, but if you're not living that life,
this is a banger right here.
if you're not living it,
you gotta read the scriptures your whole life to get the whole scriptures in you. I'm serious. You gotta, because I don't know how many times I've read Romans, but now the way you know with this topic and pulling this for this topic, this is a banger. But go ahead.
This is what it's about, having the word not be something that comes from behind your teeth and over top of your lips, but something that actually changes you on the inside and causes you. I could say for you to do this or for you to do that all over the place, but if those things never cause me to change, what good is it? The name of the Most High is being blasphemed because of me.
Mm-hmm.
And so in order for us to be able to hear and know what it is that the Most High has to say, we got to actually be walking this walk.
Hold on. So somebody come out and be like, Most High, I had this dream or whatever. The Most High told me this and that. I can come out and just be like, that's blasphemy. That's pretty harsh. Though.
What did he say?
But you're blaspheming the name.
That's what people do.
I try to be nice to
people, and you do try to be nice, but at the same time, you do somebody a disservice by allowing them to think that they're hearing something that the Most High said, and you know in your spirit that he didn't say that.
With the spirit guy, you know what I mean, that I was talking about earlier. That's why I make sure at the end of the day, that ain't in there, bro. That ain't what the spirit you got. You need to check that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because that don't line up with the Most High says.
Yeah. And so when we think about when we think about Miriam and the way that she's behaving, the way that she's behaving is outside of the character of the Most High. Talking about Moses and his closeness, whenever she's exemplifying the fact that she can't be that close.
Yeah, they did. They spoke first. Aaron and Miriam and Aaron spoke first against Moses, and then they took it to him. You know what I mean? And so
you talking about what you
talking about the first verse?
I'm talking about the first verse. It was they you know what I mean?
But hold on, you wasn't here when he went to the Hebrew.
Oh no, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Actually, Miriam was the only one that was speaking.
Oh, so Aaron was like the sounding board. He just listened. Or
they spoke about it together, and then she took lead and started. But she didn't want to open her mouth.
Yeah, that's why you shouldn't be late. That's why you shouldn't be late.
And so looking at all of this, understanding the thing that separated Moses from the rest was his relationship with the Most High. The fact that he had a life transforming relationship with the Most High that caused him to be able to know the form and similitude of the Most High which allow him to not be in the dark when it came to hearing from the Almighty.
You think there could have been a little envy in the fact that he had this relationship?
I don't know what else it could be. It seems to me that that's what you have. Why else? What is she doing? She tries to talk about his decision making, and then she talks about his ability to hear from the Most High. Like, she's just attacking him. Why? There's something bubbled up inside of her, which looked like jealousy. It looked like envy. That's what it looked like. If it wasn't that it looked like it.
Yeah, and it seems that that seems to happen a lot with believers. It's like okay, like my mom always tells me all the time. We talk about the scripture. I've been in this thing for 50 years. Like, I can't tell her nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
that's her first mistake.
That's
gravest mistake. But go ahead, my man.
And so I'm like, it seems that people, instead of listening to wisdom or, hearing, something that you might not have never heard before, you always start puffing up like, well, who is this person to, tell me when I'm this person?
There's the spirit.
Yeah.
We found it.
Yeah.
We found that spirit.
Yeah.
Because we know what that spirit is. There, that's that spirit that Miriam had.
Because we see that right there. She was the one she was spiritually, or carnally, I should say, bloated. Right? She got puffed up on for whatever reason, and then we don't even hear nothing from Moses. Don't say anything.
Right.
So she got all this to say. Moses, who by rights, he could have said all kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
He could have been like, who do you think you are to come around here talking to me about any of this? What you saying?
Right.
And he would have been right. He would have been right. But he didn't say anything.
He loves his sister.
Like
I love my mom.
Moses was being humble.
He was humble, and then the scripture helps us to understand he was the most humble man that there ever was, and there was an example of it right there for us. And it's showing us the character of the Most High in him, and carnality in Miriam.
Mm-hmm.
When we go back over here to chapter 12, and we see now this is something, because when we saw this in the last chapter, the displeasure of Yahweh burning, it literally was people burning. When the displeasure of Yahweh burned against those people that murmured against him about the manna and the quail, and wanting some flesh, that displeasure caused those people to die, to be killed. But the thing that's that's similar over here is the fact that we see this is about the judgment of the Most High, where it talks about the displeasure of Yahweh burned against them, and he left. But it's interesting.
Crazy.
It's interesting that it's saying that it burned against them, and then when they look around, Miriam is the only one that his wrath was poured out upon.
Yeah.
It said that she was leprous, as white as snow.
Oh, here it probably was. When the wrath was poured out, it hit them all, but the men wasn't, Aaron and Moses wasn't affected because God wasn't with them. really. So it was with her, and she got that judgment. But they was protected from whatever wrath hit real quick.
Can we say that there's a sort of spirit of Miriam in the women of today, the modern women of today?
Absolutely.
Like, who are these men?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? These men are trash. And saying
Well, I
all
mean,
these things.
to a degree, a lot of men are trash. So I can't you can't lopside it, you know, but to the extent that like 2-3 men are gathered, right? They would be like, y'all ain't no TD Jakes though. Y'all ain't know. That would probably be kind of equivalent, you know. Y'all just sit here on this street reading the Bible. Who are y'all? What y'all know about God? I'm gonna go to Joel Osteen or something, you know. So that I think that would be kind of equivalent.
I mean, it is a spirit. It is a spirit, but at the end of the day, it's really, you know, it's carnality.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's carnality, and we see here a perfect example of this thing, just in its full glory, right? Where, you know, she's doing these things that are just totally out of left field.
Right.
It's totally out of left field. It's totally not connected to anything. She decided that she was upset, and she just was looking to hurt. She talked about his character. She talked about his decision making capabilities in regards to whatever wife that she was even talking about, and his ability to hear from the Most High. And so, you know, this is something that I'm just gonna say it's an effect of these curses that we are in, because I mean you might have women who act in a certain way, but it's only because these curses is on these men that's causing them to act a certain kind of way.
Exactly.
So if they have a certain feeling towards men or authority or functionality, it's not even his fault. It's the system. It's the curses. It's the place that we're at. All of these things coming down, and you know, these are the things that have to be reversed in us as we get close to the Most High. The men need to be standing up, and the women need to be sitting down. And if both of them things ain't happening, then you got problems, right? The woman been standing up. She been standing up since way back. And then so when the man decide that he wants to stand up like he supposed to, hold on. She like, hold on. I've been standing up.
Like, you didn't tell me to sit down now?
What you mean?
Yeah.
And so it's just like it's a big huge mess.
Exactly.
That got to get ironed out. But the problem that we have in this day is the same thing that they had over there, and the thing that solves it is understanding and knowing the form of the Most High.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's deep.
Carletta say she spoke out when she should have prayed out. If she would have sought the Most High in the first place, he would have let her know. If she was feeling a certain kind of way, like, hold on, Almighty, I feel like I could hear from you just like Moses, and then in her sincere heart, her praying that, the Most High could have just told her, like, nah, you not on that level. He could have just told her, right? Or maybe he did tell her, and then she didn't like the answer that she got.
I mean, but she was mad about the Ethiopian woman. Like,
she never talked about that again. I'm saying that
that was
just a sword.
Okay, yeah.
That was just a dart.
A way for her to reveal her true feelings.
Was she mad though? Because that's what I'm saying. Like, first of all, who is it? If it's who Josephus says it is, it's somebody that's prior to Zipporah. So now you talking about something that happened years ago, before they even got into the wilderness, before he even met his Midianite wife. Why are you bringing that up? You really gonna bring that up? I'm saying if that's what if Josephus is right, this is his first wife before the one that we know about, and then she just bringing it up. That ain't nothing but just a jab. Yeah. She just being just whatever. So like I don't even know what she being.
Stewing in her to make her look for a way to reveal her true feelings.
They do that. Don't y'all be doing that?
What?
Just be saying stuff just to be saying stuff.
Yeah. You want to say something?
Easy. Just preliminary stuff that it don't even gotta be the thing. Like I'm gonna hit him with this and that, and then I'm gonna hit him with what I really want to say. Got a whole list, but you did this, and this, and that's why. That's what what she did. And if she would have just sincerely sought out the Most High, he could let her know you got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
You my daughter, but you not Moses, and she shouldn't even seek to be Moses.
Well, I think he did tell her that when he gave her leprosy.
I mean, he did.
You know, he sat her down.
He did tell her that, but it was the wrong way though.
She could have had it the easy way.
She could have just found out instead of getting punished.
Right.
Like you could know the truth. You could know the truth without having to be consequenced with the truth.
It seems like our people, we need those consequences. You know what I mean? For some reason, it's like we don't get it unless we get the consequences.
Yeah.
Let's can I get Matthew 12 and 36? Maybe this is what happened. This is Yeshua speaking right here.
12 and 36.
36. You know, I don't know if you might have to go to KJV, but I'm gonna read. I'm gonna see what this look like on here. It says, "And I said to you, for that every idle word men speak, they shall give an account of it in the day of judgment." Mm-hmm. So, Miriam was speaking idle words, and the Moses, Yeshua, really was like with them. He was with them, so the judgment came immediately.
Yeah,
because he heard it. He was there.
Her day judgment was right now.
The judgment was, and this is Yeshua speaking right here. When he comes back on the day of judgment, that's when it's that you got to give an account.
Mm-hmm.
So back then it was immediate. So that's why she got judged so quick.
Yeah,
and they seen it. But this is what we try to get people to understand. Your mouth, your idle words, when he come back, the judgment is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. You got to make an account for everything that you say.
Yep.
I mean, you got to make an account for everything you say, but there's these idle things that you saying that you might not even meant it.
Yeah.
But you still getting judged by it.
Yep.
And that goes back to the idea of these vows and things that people be sitting up here, things that come out your mouth. You said you was going to do this or that, but you was just playing when you said it.
Some people be swearing on their grandmama's graves and be lying. On my mama, on my grandmama, and be lying. Like, and I was there with you. I was,
I was there with you. And then they'll shed a tear. The ones that really want to act it out. You be like, wow.
Yeah.
You got people like that.
It's crazy. It is crazy. But when we look over here now, we look over here at Miriam, and then what happens with this here and her again, the fact that when we get to verse 10, and it talks about the fact that the displeasure of Yahweh burned against them and he left, and the result of that is something that happens to Miriam. It's interesting that, you know, it bears witness to what we saw in the Hebrew in terms of her being kind of at the forefront of all of this and really taking the brunt. My thoughts about this in terms of Aaron is that he gets a strike right here. You know, these are my thoughts. You know, I say that for whatever reason, Aaron, the Most High, gave Aaron 3 chances. You know, and this, in my estimation, is strike number 2. Strike number 3 is the exact same thing, but in a different situation. But it's Aaron doing the same for him typical thing of not standing up and being a defender of righteousness. He don't get the beating over here, but the Most High took note. You know, we saw with we brought up the golden calf situation. Same thing over here, where he don't stand up for righteousness. He should have said something, but we see that the punishment goes to the aggressive actor. Even though Aaron was a passive actor, I believe that he got a strike against him. And when that third strike happened, it proved a propensity that Aaron possesses that he never was able to get over. Similarly to when we look at Yeshua, when he talks about, he looks over at the fig tree and he knows that it's time for the fig tree to produce fruit, but the fig tree didn't produce fruit. And so for whatever reason, this tree had a propensity to not produce fruit, and the Most High said, "Cursed be that tree." And so when we look at Aaron in this situation where he gives us in Scripture a pattern of not standing up for righteousness, when he does it in a habitual way, we see that he eventually does get judged. But over here, this is just a tally mark, in his pattern that he creates. What's Cam say over here? He said most of the times the Most High can show you better than he could tell you, especially when it comes to the children of Israel.
That's facts.
That's what happens.
Yeah,
he'll put you in a situation.
That's the story.
The thing about it is that the Most High, he'll tell you. I think he can show you better than you can hear him say it.
Yeah.
Because he tried to tell you, but you didn't hear what he was saying. So then, but he could make some things happen.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Most times you don't want to see.
He tried to tell you, but you didn't hear.
He'll get you.
But that's true, yeah. So we see over here again, looking at Miriam, she is plagued, right? The plague of the Most High comes upon her, and Aaron is like, "Wow, Master, please don't hold against us." He said, "Don't hold against us the sin which we have done foolishly, in which we have sinned." This is Aaron, right? And so this is something that we have to understand in terms of Aaron's role over here. Again, he was supposed to say something. He was supposed to hold his sister accountable for what she was saying. He was supposed to say, hold on, Marion, you got to chill with all this. You tripping. He was supposed to do that. And over here, he knows that he's a part of it.
He probably was thinking he was next.
Maybe.
So
Maybe. Well, the Most High came. He did what he had to do. It's almost like Daddy came with the belt. The beatings was handed out. And then he goes back upstairs. He's gone now. It's safe. And he's like, wow. Wow. So either Daddy coming back downstairs, or things have kind of died off. But either way, we see that he is understanding his part in it. Don't hold these things against us. We have done foolishly. And so for me, when I look at this, especially looking at Aaron in his entirety, Aaron helps us to see and understand that, we can't sit back and watch things happen and not do or say anything and not expect for consequences to come back on us.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't able to just sit back and just be like, man, she tripping. Like, he was supposed to say something. And we see his guilt. He got guilt for allowing this thing to go on because he didn't say anything. He never said anything, but there's guilt. He has guilt over here because he didn't stop this thing from happening. He didn't intervene. He didn't step in.
This is the story. There's going to be many of us who are going to be held accountable for all of the things that we allowed to happen in our presence. Well, we didn't speak out against evil or wickedness, or somebody saying, you know what, I'm about to go do this and that. You're like, oh, all right, bro, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
You were supposed to tell that man, nah, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're becoming basically an accomplice in their wickedness by not, especially if you know better.
Yes, absolutely.
What if they wicked though, man? You just know.
What you doing with them if they wicked then?
I'm not with them. I'm going past them.
Oh, you know.
I'm a witness to their wickedness.
Yeah, I think the difference is that we see where, especially in terms of Aaron's role in all of this, he was in a situation where he had an opportunity to fix the situation. He had an opportunity to address what was going on. It was actually his responsibility to step in and do something, and he just sat idly by, and as I said earlier, agreed with what was said. He agreed because he didn't say anything.
So that's why I said in the New Testament, 1 John 2 and 3. And by this we know that we know him if we guard his commands.
Mm-hmm.
They wasn't guarding them.
Right.
They was let to stand there and just let wickedness happen when you can put the right thing out.
That shamar word is a serious thing.
Yeah.
Because, we look at it in the English and think about just keeping his commands.
Right.
But it's
'Cause
more than
I
you
literally
doing it, you're guarding it.
Yeah, I literally got both of them where say keep the commands and then say we guard, and it just hit this point like you're going, because reading this, how you reading it, it's like he's supposed to be guarding the right thing to do, especially if he's a witness, if he's there, that's guarding it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more than you just doing it. Just how you posted the whole Sabbath verse earlier today, where I'm keeping the Sabbath, and my son's keeping the Sabbath, and my daughter, and my maidservant, and my manservant, and my donkey. It's all keeping the Sabbath. Yeah, I'm guarding it. I'm doing something, and I'm making it so that all the things that I touch is also doing it. I'm not participating in the breaking of it in any way. And so that's guarding it. And so by Aaron not doing anything, by him being passive about the situation, he agreed with it. By rights, he's actually guilty, and he feels that guilt over here when he's speaking over here in verse 11. Not only for himself, he's added himself into it, but he's saying also, don't let her be as one that's dead. And so here, read for us verse 13 and 14 right there.
13 and 14. And Moshe cried out to Yahweh saying, "O El, please heal her, please." And Yahweh said to Moshe, "If her father had put spit in her face, would she not be ashamed 7 days? Let her be shut out of the camp 7 days, and after that let her be readmitted."
And so when we look at Moshe and we see him, of course, being the most humble person, the most meek person that was around, you had these people that sitting up here speaking against him, speaking against who he is and his character, and then yet still you see Moses, in spite of all that, pleading for mercy, even though she was the actor involved in all of this. And the Most High, like, sorry Moses, she got to get her punishment.
But look at Yahweh right there. He said, if her father but had spit in her face, that's what was going on.
That's what I was.
I'm like,
the crazy thing
because he's saying it.
What custom is this?
Because he's saying it.
Yeah,
he's saying it.
Yes,
it ain't like Moses.
So this is the thing that they, that would happen from a cultural standpoint.
Like a disgrace.
It's a disgraceful thing. I'll read this thing from George Lamza. George Lamza is he's the one who came out with the Aramaic Old Testament. And he also has this little commentary thing. So he says, let me show it here.
Old Testament light, okay.
He says over here, Spitting is the most contemptible rebuke in the East, and it is still in common use. Spitting in one another's face precipitates quarrels and disputes among people. At times, spitting is used as a token of strong rebuke. Fathers and mothers, when rebuking their children for misdemeanors, may say to them, poo, which means I spit on you. That is, I condemn your actions. In this case, no saliva is discharged. You're just saying something. But in more serious quarrels, the person who spits discharges his saliva on the face of the other person. He references, what's Deuteronomy 29, 25 and 9.
I don't know, but if you say poo, I think some droplets come out of it.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I think
that pee.
similar effect. Similar effect.
25, 9. What's that say?
9.
Oh, hold on. Let me put it up on verse 9. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders and remove.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Let me get the verse above it. Here, let's start at 7.
It says, but if the man does not desire to take his brother's wife and let his brother's wife go up to the gate.
Oh, the Levirate vow. The woman's husband dies and they don't have a child, so the brother got to marry the wife. Okay, go.
It says, then let the brother's wife go up to the gate to the elders and say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name to his brother in Israel. He does not agree to perform the duty of a husband's brother. The elders of his city shall then call him and speak to him, and shall stand and say, I have no desire to take her. Then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders and remove his sandal from his foot, and shall spit in his face and answer and say, this is done to the man who does not build up his brother's house.
Okay, so it's this extreme act of shame that this person is exemplifying. So with the Most High spitting in the face of Miriam actually causes leprosy. Right? The leprosy that she received was this act that was like unto what we would do in terms of spitting in her face. And so essentially she's done this shameful act speaking against the Most High's elect.
Hold on.
Good.
Wait. Because you pulled the scripture, so it's you. That, hey. So it's a commandment. And if your brother dies, he has a wife and doesn't have kids, you have to have a kid with his wife.
Yeah. For his yes.
For his name, yeah. It's not just, he's going to carry on his name. The whole polygamy.
When you refuse it.
Yeah, when you refuse it, there was judgment for it.
Yeah.
But people's brothers was dying with no kids. I'm saying, like, men, so it's common for men during this time, according to scripture too, to have women. I'm not saying it's a problem or nothing, but I'm just saying this is another way, because people, even, like today, now I understand the issues with it today, But back then, like they'll speak about it today, like this is a form of kind of, because who's going to take care? He raised up his brother's child, so he's not going to have a child and then not be the caretaker of the household, right? So
or also in terms of like the inheritances or whatever. So the things that he was, his name, is the person's the family name, that whatever inheritance that he had, there's nowhere for it to go.
Right.
And so these things was all important in terms of a nation. And when you don't have any children, anyone to pass the things on to, it becomes a problem. And so again, this over here is this shameful thing because selfishly or whatever, that this brother don't want to participate in this thing, is that we don't look at, first of all, this is a nation thing over here.
Right.
And inheritances and all of these things are important things that at this point in the game, nobody's thinking about these things.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that Christianity basically has Christianity's belief that the laws are done away with is symbolic of our nation being basically destroyed right now. So they literally, have taken up this banner against us and against our nation, right? And they're all confederate against us. And these laws, in the world's eyes, have been done away with.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when we get back to, Yeshua coming back and building the nation again, we're going back. You know what I'm saying? It'll be back to the same thing.
Yeah. It is.
This is the commandments.
These are the
Torah
things
right here.
What did it say? 2 or 3 women will. What's the scripture?
You talking about Isaiah 4?
Yeah.
1.
I mean, it's literally.
Yeah.
We're gonna be few in numbers.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to get them numbers up.
Get them numbers up.
Yeah. To me, again, just talking about it, the people think about these customs, but they don't think about all of the things that go along with the customs.
Right.
And so that's the problem.
Right.
The idea in and of itself to have multiple wives or what have you is, as an idea, okay, but what does that entail?
Exactly.
Right?
What tells
Are you able to take care of all of these people?
Right. Yeah. It has to be done
equally.
According to
because it said what you give one, you gotta get the next one.
Right. When you adding these ones to the fold,
yep,
it can't be diminishing the one that's already there.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can't be living off of your many wives' welfare
You
checks.
are the man.
right.
And so if you are able to provide for one, how you gonna provide for two?
Right.
We live in a society where you could get a couple, and then they got, they and the government can all take care of
You.
the man.
Right.
and
That's
it's
wickedness.
all backwards. It's all backwards. We see over here. This over here is an example of righteousness being done, and getting back to what we're talking about, and the shame that goes along with the lack of righteousness being done. When you look at this brother who didn't want to perform his duty, you could also see some of Aaron in this thing. Is to where there was something that needed to be done, and this brother over here wasn't able to stand up and do it. Just like there was something for Aaron to do, silence his sister in this time of carnality, and he wasn't able to stand up and do it. And so the result is the Most High spit in the face of Miriam and caused her to be unclean for 7 days. And when the 7 days is up, you can come back. 7 days you can come back. No problem. But you're going to do your time.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have this shame on you for these 7 days, and you're going to think about the thing that you've done. And then come back. And you're welcome back.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's over. Judgment is done. It's over. Come back. But these 7 days, you're gonna wear this shame.
You're gonna time out.
Yes.
Think about what you did.
That's time out. Yes. So let's go back over. Let's finish up. Let's go back over to Numbers 12. Yeah. Over. You shut out. Camp 7 days. You'll be readmitted. No big deal. And then in verse 16 it even moved. In the scripture it just moves on. And afterward the people departed.
Yeah.
They went on to the next place. That's what happened.
We're keeping it moving. That's how we gotta be.
Keeping it moving.
People want to get credit.
The people, they didn't
Keep
set
it
out.
moving.
They didn't go nowhere while Miriam was outside of the camp. Everything paused. Everybody had a chance to experience the shame of Miriam. Nothing happened. They just stayed right where they was at for those 7 days. And it says right there, the people did not set out. They ain't go nowhere until Miriam came back. After the 7 days was over, after she did her time and wore her shame. And then afterwards, they departed. It was up. Done deal. People don't want no judgment. People don't want no judgment.
That's what he was doing. He was making examples, man.
That's what he did.
You gotta be made an example of. Because people don't like shame or, all eyes on them when you mess up. Yeah. All eyes on you, So he was trying to humble people. Like, look.
And didn't she need humbling right there?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And
look, hold on. Before you go with that, that's why they took shame away today. Because that was a form of shame, and that keeps you in check because you don't want to be shamed. But today, there ain't no shame. Yeah. People don't get checked for this stuff. There's no shame.
Yeah. I mean, and again, going back to something that we said earlier in terms of the world, we live in this world and people function according to the world. We function according to the Spirit. These things are part of this. This part of these things. Sometimes you got to be shamed.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to wear your judgment.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to wear the things that you've done and the consequences that go along with it. But when it's over, it's over. We're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
But and you learn from it, and you feel that shame, and then that's gonna keep you from doing that thing again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's
the
point.
It should. That's the point of it.
That's the point.
Is to keep you from doing the thing again. Sometimes it don't work out that way. People, I guess, either they wasn't shamed enough or, what have you. I don't know.
He called us sottish children. Because a child's supposed to develop and learn a certain way. So I guess in Jeremiah he said, these are sottish children. Yeah. They never able to learn what I'm trying to show them.
Is that the PC word for retarded?
For stupid.
What is it?
Sottish. King James, Jeremiah 4:22. Yeah.
I wanted to ask something.
Go ahead.
But, I don't want it to take us too far off.
Well. As far as this, when we think about this, and we see the process of what happened. We understand the issue with Miriam. Her carnality rose up. We understand the reason why Moses was who he was, because he was able to keep his carnality down. The scripture tells us, that Moses, he knew the form of Yahweh. We also see that Miriam obviously didn't. And so what we to be able to do in these days and times is be able to align ourselves with the will of the Most High, so that we could rightly hear what it is that He's saying for us and has for us to be doing, and then we don't have to be shamed. We don't have to be shamed, right? We don't have to face any consequences because we're walking out His will and moving according to the Spirit. And if we're able to do that, we're able to move. But what was you going to say about the situation?
So verse 12.
Yeah.
Please do not let her be as one dead when coming out of his mother's womb, with his flesh half consumed. And it's talking about, of course, it talked about her color being
leprosy,
white. And, also, I guess it's talking about the scabs as well. But, I mean, is that like being white? It's like being dead?
Well, if you're a colorful person and then you lack color, I mean, one of the, I remember this before Little Hiskey breathed, when he first came out.
Yeah, it happened with Lael too. She was pale. She was like
they didn't have, he didn't have like color. He didn't have air in his lungs. His chest was all concaved. Mm-hmm. It was just for a matter of seconds. But those seconds that went by, after we sat here, I'm saying I ain't go through nothing. I sat up there and watched Teresa go through it. After we sat up here and went through all of this stuff for this little baby to come out with all extra fingers and all. When he came out, lacking that color, it looks like a dead thing.
Yeah.
And for her to be a colored person, to lose the color as a dead person, of not having that life. I mean, we got life inside of us. We not like this. Watching something on a black and white TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got high definition, 4K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you don't have that, it's just.
So it's associating with the color white, like saying, associating with death.
That's what we see right there, yeah, or the lack of color. What's it say? What's the word? Oh, it doesn't say right there. It just says, "Please do not let the one." Well,
it says it.
We know
it says it up.
We know that she was white as
snow, right? In the verse 10, yeah.
Right, and so leprous. The color that she did have was removed. And so he's pleading for her life to be restored back to her. But of course, it wasn't. Yeah. So, that being said, we want to be careful, to seek the Most High out, and get this word in us, right? To fill our hearts and our minds with these words, and allow these words to be activated by the Ruach HaKodesh in our lives, so we don't go around speaking against what the Most High has put in place. The things that the Most High is doing, we got to get in tune with that, as opposed to speaking against it, right? And again, the only way to do that is for us to be able to walk in the Spirit and be in tune with what the Ruach is having for us to be doing. Otherwise, it's going to just always be bad for us.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, so that being said, if we don't have any more questions, comments about any of these things, to remember to like the video, hit the thumbs up, share the video, subscribe to the channel. We're like 2 subscribers away from 500.
Actually, one now.
Oh, we got a new subscriber. 1 subscriber away from 500. Yeah, these people are with thousands of subscribers. We working on 500,000. Can we just get one more? One more. Like them telethons. Can we just
Click the button.
yeah. Okay. All right. So that being said, we want to say for now, Shabbat Shalom. Y'all willing, we will be back on next Shabbat with more of this word. Right?
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.